What is up, Chiefs Gaming? Welcome to the Race Flays Radio Show. This is going to be another amazing show for you today. Holy moly, holy moly, holy moly. We're going to get into a lot of stuff here. We're going to talk a little bit about food. We haven't been talking about food in a long time. What's up, Painting Polish? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Chatters, welcome in if you're just joining us, the Race Flays Radio Show. This is a show about passion, whether you're a musician, whether you're a chef, whether you're a painter, an artist. Maybe you're a fly fisherman in the middle of some crazy mountain in the middle of the river there or something like that. Who knows? Maybe you're a walleye champion like our guest is today. Wait till he comes in. He's got a lot of stories for you, and eventually we're going to learn just to give you an idea of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to learn first about our guest. We're going to learn about what he does. Then we're going to get into his diet, what he eats on a regular basis. He's on the road a lot. He's all over traveling all over the place, all over the country. So I want to get an idea about what he eats. But before we get into his diet, I want to show you my typical diet. Here's my food cam. Here we go. Holy moly, that's a parent diet for you right there. We're traveling all over the Los Angeles and Orange County area and working full time. There's no time to eat much. We've got a little piece of carnitas right here. Bam, a little mixing carnitas. We've got with the hair in it because of my daughter. We've got mozzarella sticks, only 2 left out of 6. These are the Nashville hot. You can appreciate these. My guest can appreciate these. Wait till he comes on. He's Southern, so he understands these Nashville hot mozzarella sticks from Jack in the Box with a side of ranch. You got to have that to get you going through the day. A little Sprite for the hydration, and some boba iced coffee from Jack in the Box. That'll get you going. Holy moly. And those bobas are since it's Jack in the Box, you can't expect quality boba. You know, they're not like perfectly round. They're like pretty like dented in and like spongy instead of like nice and strong bobas. So, but hey, that's what you get when you're on the road, when you're eating fast, when you're trying to go fast, when you're in a hurry, and you're dropping kids off here and there, and still got to work. It's crazy. So that's my diet there. So it's gonna be amazing tonight. Sit back, relax, get your drinks, enjoy the show. This is gonna be another Race Flays exclusive. The guest today has been on the show before a few times, but it's been a while, so we got to make sure we get to know what he does. His legendary feats are well known all over YouTube, all over Instagram, all over TikTok. His almost Rambo-like videos of him hunting in the forest, catching and angling monster fish across the country, in the bayou, in the canyons, in the lakes, in the swamps. This man is an expert. He's a master forward-facing sonar expert and a national walleye champion. Yes, that's right, a national walleye champion on the show. Please, my friends, help me welcome Mr. Tom Yoon to the show. What's up, my man?
How's it going, man? I'm doing good. Yeah, you almost made me blush with that introduction there.
It's all true. Not only is it a legend, but it's not like Bigfoot, right? It's an actual. He's actually exists. Tom Yoon, the legend. He's right there, guys.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty. I've had a good road here in the last 4 years or so, fishing the National Walleye Tour, and
holy moly, 4 years!
I kind of miss going to California, and hanging out with you a little bit more.
Yeah, dude, you were making some chops out here, making stories out here. So thank God you're not back here. But you are quite the legend, my friend. You were talking California. We used to have you travel all over the country, doing stuff for the company, and so you made a lot of waves doing that. Became a famous nail technician as well. And then I remember when you were like, dude, I'm gonna start doing the Walleye Championship. You're like, I'm gonna do it this color of this like polish that we had. Remember that? You're like, I'm gonna do the green that we had. I want my boat to be that color. I was like, yeah, dude, only a nail tech fisherman would ask for the polish color on his boat.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is now, with social media and everything, it's like a trending thing now, in the fishing industry, in the fishing world, to polish, use nail products to customize your baits. And it's kind of funny because that's what I was messing with probably 5-6 years ago
back in the day, dude. Yeah, you're way ahead. Way ahead.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool to see that transition, and that trend now. And it's funny because now when, guys that I compete against or my buddies, when anything comes across their social media, they're always tagging me and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny.
They know, so they know your background then.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, it's and that's the funny thing is whenever I first threw my hat into the ring, fishing these walleye tournaments, I started doing really well in the tournaments, and with that, with podcasts, with radio interviews, TV interviews, people would ask about my day job because a lot of us, all of us anglers, pretty much have day jobs. I'd say 95% of us do anyway. That's how we can afford to do this.
So just because you're a rock star on the angler tour doesn't mean you can't just like be a rock star all the time. You have to have a day job.
You have to have a day job to get started, and then if you put in the time and work, for sure, if you put in the time and work and the effort to promote your company, the companies that support you, and then there is a way to make a living fishing for sure. But I'd say there's only probably in the National Walleye Tour, for example, I'd say only maybe half a dozen
Oh
anglers
wow!
that can make a livable wage. Yeah.
So it's not
So,
like golf
but
where you're
with
making
that,
hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're
oh, not even close. No, not even close.
wow.
Yeah. But you can, but yeah, with that success came interviews and people asked what my day job was. And I'd say, fingernails and have nail salons. And for about a year, I think people thought I was joking, and then, but no, now it's a thing. And, there's guys on the tour who actually send me pictures of their sons polishing their mom's nails or their sister's nails, and there's little boys, 5, 6, 7 years old, and I think before I started doing this, there's not a chance a lot of these guys would share those pictures with their buddies,
You're their hero,
so.
man.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty cool to make it okay to do.
There you go. Not only is he is one of the greatest nail artists in the country, he's also owned salons. So you're not just a nail tech, but you also own a couple of salons, and so you run
Yeah.
salons.
Yep. So I have a couple nail salons in Fargo, North Dakota, and I've had those for 20 some years now. Pretty much, yeah, over half my life I've owned a couple of those salons, and I love that job.
That's amazing. But your whole life, ever since
Mhm.
I known you, it's been about fishing. I mean, this goes back to when you were a kid, right?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I grew up on just some farm ponds down in Arkansas. We didn't have a boat, didn't have money for a boat, but I would go up to the pond banks with my grandma, grandpa, my mom, and just go up and cast a line, catch a little bluegill or catfish, or um, and they were safe to eat, not like out in California when you're.
Yeah, if you get a
You
bluegill
told
out
me
here, it's
before.
probably full of hepatitis. There might be it might be like actually, this is the only city where you can catch a fish literally inside of a bottle. You'll actually catch the bottle. You'll reel up a bottle, and when you reel up the bottle, you look at the bottle. There's a fish inside. It's crazy. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, with 3 eyes.
With three
And
eyes, yes.
but yeah, I grew up down there fishing and strangely enough, developed a passion for fishing then. But it wasn't until actually after I met you, significantly years after I met you. For example, this is years ago that I bought my first boat.
Yeah.
I used to fish from the riverbanks and stuff like that, but I wasn't. I was in my mid 30s
Oh wow! So you
before
hadn't
I
even done you.
bought my.
I'd known
Uh-uh.
you for a while before you even had your first boat.
Yeah.
Then that's crazy.
Yep.
So
Oh
you're
yeah.
just doing it
You
off the
you knew me
shore.
before you knew me before I actually ever set foot into a boat. I'd never set
You
foot into
never
a boat
even
before I
been
bought my
a
first one.
passenger in a boat.
Nope.
Wow, crazy. That's
Uh-uh.
crazy. So I had
Yep.
a boat before you because
So
I
then,
had a boat when I was a kid because the neighbor
yeah.
was given like here. There's no point having a boat. If you're in LA, there's one lake and that's where they drop the dead body. So there's no boating over here. You gotta travel out of the state, or you gotta go to Vegas or Arizona with your boat. So the neighbor was like, here, keep this, take this. This was like from the 70s. It was like one of those, you know,
Yeah.
the one that's like goes, it's like square in the back and it goes like this and it just goes straight up
Yeah.
like an arrow, like it's like a 70
Yeah.
style, you know, like straight. It's just
Yep.
arrows. We had that thing for a while, and then we'd go fishing with it. We'd try to water ski off that thing, and I didn't know anything about taking care of those things. So
Yeah.
much like a car, they do need oil, and eventually I blew out the motor right on the lake. So that's my story. That
Uh-oh.
was my boating experience.
Yeah. Well, don't have another one now.
No, I gave it back to him. Give it back to the neighbor. You
Yeah.
get this thing out of here. It's crazy. Oh man, that's
funny.
crazy. So I had a boat before you. I remember distinctly when you got your boat, and then eventually that boat was too small for you. You knew what you wanted, and you got something even bigger, huh?
Yep. Yep. I started with a 17-foot aluminum boat. Then I went to a bass boat. Now I'm in a big 22-foot deep
Holy
V.
moly, 22 feet.
Yeah, fiberglass boat. So I mean, it's been quite the few years. It's just been awesome though. Just on the forefront of this new technology, and happened to be one of the first to utilize it the way it's being used now. And now just educating people on how to use it around the country. And you know, it's pretty cool to be able to teach. You know, went from teaching fingernails and those methods to teaching fishing. So
It's
you know,
crazy how life
it's
works,
just
right? Because we had you in front of a bunch
yeah.
of people all the time, talking and teaching,
That helped me a lot.
right?
Actually, that helped me a ton. Because I remember the first time with you guys, like it was being in front of people. I was really nervous right away, but
Sure.
I remember being told, Greg told me, he's like, you know, you know what you're doing. You wouldn't be here in front of these people if you didn't know what you're doing. And I always remembered that, like, you know, so then that way, you know, I'm not having to guess anything. I'm not having to do anything. I'm actually teaching people exactly what I'm doing. So that makes it easy, you
Yeah,
know?
you're the expert.
Yep.
In that room, you're the
Yep.
expert every single time. That's crazy.
hmm
What? So
Yep.
before we get into the technology that you teach, what was it like? You had been fishing your whole life. What was it about 4 years ago that said, "Now I'm ready to step my foot into the competition ring"?
Just for the fact that, so I had fished some bass tournaments prior to these walleye tournaments, just for a taste of the competition. And you know, I really didn't do that well. And then when I upgraded my boat, to the bass boat that I told you I wanted to match, you know, a certain polish, it came with it came with these new electronics. And so during COVID, when we got shut down, the salons got shut down for almost 2 months. All I
Oh,
did
damn.
was fish, like that, to relieve stress, to get my mind off things. I just fished and utilized these electronics, and learned that, you know, I was under the assumption at the time that there's going to be all these pros and stuff utilizing and stuff, but there wasn't. For some reason, they were intimidated to use the technology, and I just kept utilizing it, kept using it, put my head down, and you know, figured out that, hey, you know, I can find these fish. I'm probably finding them where, you know, people typically don't look, and so I
Nobody.
just,
So
me and
you're
my
talking
buddy,
about the bass competitions? No, nobody was using
there's
the
no, these are,
technology.
yeah, nobody was using the
How do you?
technology in
So we
any
were
of.
seeing them. We've been seeing them when we were kids, like on cable, like pulling fish out of the lake at a competition. How do they find the fish if they don't have no technology? I thought they all use it.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah. Well, the new technology, I should say. So this new forward-facing technology, when it came out back in 2018, 2019, people had it, but they weren't utilizing it correctly. They were still using old technology, which they were accustomed to. And yes, they were finding fish, they were catching fish, no problem, right? But by me not knowing any better, since I was new to the game, to the electronics, these were the only, pretty much the first electronics I had experience with.
This
So
is
then
just
I
this is
just
the one you pulled
utilized
off
it.
the shelf. You're like, oh, this must be it. I got the box. It's the AAK 5000. You put it on your boat, and you're like, forward we go, right?
Yep, yep. And That's what it was. And then so then whenever I decided like, okay, me and my buddy Nate, we're just gonna jump into this random tournament, and it's a walleye tournament, and we ended up winning on our first walleye tournament we fished, and then that's when the ball started
Holy
rolling, and then
moly.
we had two or three really phenomenal years, and yeah, just keep we're still I'm just still
So
trying
you
to
were
ride
just
that wave.
crushing everybody because you're using this for what? Tell everybody what's the difference between this forward facing. Were they like looking back past the like where you're passing, like where your boat's going and they're back looking, or so? What's the difference?
Yeah, yeah. So traditional fishing electronics, you can see fish when they're under your boat or off to the side of your boat. But once you've seen them with your traditional electronics, they're already behind you, right? They're already
Oh,
past you. But so,
there's a space then. There's like a time. It's like
yep,
a buffer.
yep. So then you have to then after you see them in that case, you kind of have to stop, turn around on those fish, and kind of guess where they were, where your boat was when you went over them.
Oh,
Now,
jeez.
with forward facing sonar, that's exactly what it sounds like. You're looking out ahead of your boat in real time. So you can see a fish out at 50, 60, up to 100 and some feet out in front of you before your boat goes over it to spook it, for example.
And no
So
delay.
then, no delay.
Crazy.
It is, yep. And you're not looking at them like you're looking at them over out of the water. You know, it's not like you're looking at a fish like a fish looks. But your sonar is giving you a return, and you have to interpret that return as a fish or as a weed or as a rock. You know what I mean? So then there's a learning curve, and it's a pretty hot topic right now with these electronics. And I that's what I'm doing now, is just now taking what I've learned. I've had 4 really good seasons behind me now with fishing walleye tournaments, and now I'm just teaching people how to use it.
Crazy. What did the old
Yeah.
guys say? Like the old fishermen, they like, what? I don't need that freaking forward facing. I need the one that goes on the back because I've been doing this for 35 years and I can just backfish like nobody's backfishing business. Were some people pretty
Yeah.
pissed off?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people who are right now, like the championship. Like I won the National Walleye Tour Championship using forward facing sonar.
What?
The kid used they're like a couple weeks ago, the Bassmaster Classic, which is the tournament of tournaments. The kid that won that's 22 years old. He won that tournament using forward facing sonar. So it is a topic right now, and a lot of guys are negative about it. Like they're really negative about it because and I don't get it,
Are they
because
saying
there's
like
been
it's
an
cheating?
evolution.
Like it's
Yeah,
shooting fish in a barrel?
yeah, yeah. That's what they think, though. That's what they think. And here's what I don't understand. Like they can they complain about it. They call it the cheater box. They call talk just talk down on it, but they talk down on it, but implying that it's so easy. That's why it should be banned, right? They imply that it's so easy, but
It's not that easy
if
though. You
it's
got to
so
study, or
easy,
like you said earlier, like you have to understand the
well, it
whole
is. But
thing.
if they think it's so easy, why don't they jump in a boat, jump in these tournaments, and go win $100,000 at a time, or go win the Bassmaster Classic for $300,000? If it's so,
Damn.
that's what I don't understand. Like
Do you think that
they imply.
in their day when they were when the back for facing
Yep,
machine came
yeah,
out,
yep.
that the old guys were like, screw that, you guys are using the back for, we're using the wind, and we just use the wind. And so the older generation was like pissed off at these guys the same way that they're now pissed off at the younger generation.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's like
It's just a big cycle. But now, what we have now that we didn't have with the last greatest advancement in technology, which was probably 15, 20 years ago, what we have now is social media.
ooh, so
so
people are seeing you cheat.
so
No,
now
just
you've got people being able to sit back and talk all the trash they want.
Oh
And
yeah.
people were doing it back then too, but they couldn't share it with hundreds of thousands of
You
people,
didn't
you know?
see that. You're
So,
right. Yeah. Even if they were like, "Hey, this
yeah,
is freaking cheating," you didn't hear them because they were just in their
no,
backyard. But
yep,
this,
yep,
they get the
yep,
platform. This is, I bet you there's a ton of people out there. This is their whole life. They get to troll you all day.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, no, and that's what it is. And none of it really bothers me because I've seen it all. I've seen, when I started fishing, I didn't have these electronics. For like 4 years, I used what was out, right? What was out at the time. Then these new electronics came out and I just jumped right on it and dedicated myself to learning it because I just spent a ton of money on it. And so I've seen the benefits of the electronics that were out before, but then, like I said, there's always a progression. And people historically, the first people who were on board with the technology and learned it were the ones who were dominating in the sport of tournament fishing. And so it's just,
Oh, so that's not
it's
bad. It's kind of
another,
a, it was a smooth transition. No, the people that were in charge were okay with it.
yeah, I mean, what's funny is like a lot of people up north here in the walleye uh, world, in the walleye tournament world, or just walleye fishermen in general. People up here for some reason in the upper Midwest to out north, and they're really embracing it. I don't understand it. Like there's a
Howdly
division.
doodly.
They're embracing the technology. They're utilizing it. They're being responsible with it. But then once you pass like, I don't know, Iowa, Missouri, and you start getting down towards the south and all through that, that's where you see a lot more people against it. But
Uh,
again, I just think that, and I don't understand that part of it. I really don't. But I just think the people who are against it literally have no idea. They probably never even seen a screen. Or if they YouTube it or Google catching fish with forward facing sonar, what are they watching? They're watching all the hook sets, right? They're watching all the successes, but they're not watching all of the hours or days that go in between catching a fish, sometimes.
oh,
So
so
I
even with
think
this technology, it still takes time. It's not just like you throw
oh
your
yeah,
bait in the
no,
water and the fish come out.
no, dude, I've done over 40 seminars this winter, teaching this across the country, and probably talked to up towards 5,000 people at these seminars. And if, I mean, if it was easy, my seminars would be empty. You know what I mean? So,
So there's something to it. They've
so
got to
pe-
get a lot of. There's a
people
lot
are,
of information that they need.
yep. And then I, launched my university, Tom Wynn University,
Woo!
back in September, and with that, the enrollments on that have been crazy, right? So that my point is, like, if it was easy, there wouldn't be anybody who's interested in learning or asking me
Yeah, there
questions
wouldn't
all
be
the
a
time.
business for
So
you
yeah,
to sell
so I mean that's the
classes.
thing, and yep. So a lot of people who are negative against it, it is what it is. But if they're tournament anglers, they need to get on board with it. And if not, then there's other leagues, there's other circuits out there where in the bass industry that don't allow that technology. Go fish it.
Oh, there are some that are
Yeah,
like kind of like bodybuilding, like the natty people versus the steroid people kind of thing. Is that a
yeah,
good
yeah.
analogy?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
They're going fishing all natty, just all natty style. They got
yeah.
shorts, no shirt, and they're just like a Coors in one hand, and they're like fish over there,
Heck
and they
yeah.
just throw it in, and
Yep.
sometimes they get, sometimes they don't. It just takes a little.
Yeah, but I mean,
Those tours are
yeah,
like 79 days instead of 3, right? They take a little bit
yeah,
longer.
yep, yep.
Damn, holy
But
moly!
no, and that's another good point you made too. Like if they are told that, and when they're against it, they say, let's just take away forward facing sonar and let's get back to fishing the way it was meant to be. So if you're going to do that, then let's get rid of fishing rods. Look at the technology in fishing rods and reels.
Damn.
let's get, what about these big giant boats we have now, right? Let's
Right.
get back to just
Swimming
jump
out
in a
there.
canoe,
Oh,
take a
canoe. There you
stick,
go. That's what I was.
tie a
I didn't know how
string
they did
to
it.
it. So, but yeah, I don't know, but I'm not worried about it. There's going to be haters in every industry and every walk of life, and it is what it is.
That's crazy. Holy moly. What an interesting experiment. But you've been in it. You've been on the tour. You've been doing well with it. You won the real champion of walleye tournament. Is that what you did?
Yep.
Crazy,
Last September.
crazy.
Yep.
Out of
Yep. It
control.
was my, yep. So it was my first now I've won an event. I've won a tournament now on all three major walleye circuits. So that's pretty cool to be able to say too. It was one of my goals. And so yeah, my tournament season actually starts here in 2 weeks in South Dakota. So looking forward to that.
South Dakota. Now these places, you can't just be in competition and just say I'm going to stay in South Dakota and win. These competitions, are they all over the country?
They're all over the country, and you don't. I mean, year to year, the schedules and the destinations change. You know what I mean? It's not the
Oh,
same lake. So what we fished last year is going to be different this year, and so on and so forth. But we have four qualifying events, and then we have the championship. So, but yeah, they're
holy
across.
moly. So
We
are
go
you,
South Dakota,
yeah, go ahead.
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin,
and yeah, Michigan,
Michigan,
New York,
New York,
um, and then back to Wisconsin for the championship. Yeah.
back to Wisconsin. So
Hmm.
San Diego, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, and back to Wisconsin. All these different places. Um, it's pretty exciting. Now we could sit here and talk about fishing all night. That would be fun. But I want to know what the inquiring minds want to know. You're traveling through all these strange places. South Dakota, I've never been. Wisconsin, I've never been. Michigan, I've never been. That's a lot different than Los Angeles and New York, which you said is on the tour. What is the food like at these places? Like, you got to try. You're driving to all these places, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Drive. I got towed the boat. So, but once just to and from destination, you just pick up what you can, right? Fast food or whatever.
So it's fast
But
food.
once, well, yeah, I mean, to when we get to, from home to our destination where the tournament is, and then there's a few of us guys who pitch in together and share an Airbnb. So we have a house. And
Ooh.
so we do one or two things. We either get one of the guys has his family has a beef farm, beef business. So then he's bringing like these nice ribeye steaks, ground
Oh,
beef, all this
damn.
stuff. So yeah, so then our Airbnb, we try to make sure it always has a grill.
So you guys are
We'll
barbecuing it
grill
up.
beef. Yep. So after each day of fishing, we fire up the grill, do that. But there'll be 2 or 3 days of that week where we'll go hit up usually like a local bar, local tavern, because they have, those local small little hole in the wall. They have some of the best food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to go out and just be able to experience food or things like that across the country. And we take advantage of it when we're traveling with the fishing tour. So
Hell yeah. All those places are
mhm.
different. New York's known for pizza. I think about pizza. I think about kebabs. I think about Italian food. In Wisconsin, I think about cheese. South Dakota, I don't know what the heck's down in South Dakota at all, except for Tom Hune.
Beef.
Beef, is it beef? Is it beef and potatoes all day long over there?
Oh yeah, it's a big cattle state
Cattle
there
country.
in South Dakota. Yep, and but yeah, Wisconsin, you got their for appetizers. You got their famous Wisconsin cheese curds, which is
Ooh, some
basically
curds.
deep fried balls of cheese. You can't go wrong with that.
That's like my mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, well, it's close.
Maybe that's where LA got their
But
mozzarella sticks. They copied Wisconsin cheese balls.
yeah,
That might have
probably.
been it.
Yeah,
Crazy. What
but no,
oh good.
no, yeah. And then whenever I go back through, so most of my uh travels for the fishing tour has me go through Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, there you
And
go.
all the time, whenever I go through at a reasonable time, meaning business hours, I love stopping by a place called Mungtown Marketplace.
Mumtown, like
And
MUM?
no, Mung, Hmong. And they so it's a place where it's like almost like a little flea market type style thing where you can buy like Asian like goods and stuff like that. But then they
Hell
have
yeah.
a almost a little mini food court with probably about 8 to 10 small little vendors there. But
Ooh.
dude, I'm talking like these giant beef ribs that are
Ooh.
marinated in these Asian spices rubbed with lemongrass and then cooked really slow.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
amazing. Of course, the roasted pork belly, you know what I'm talking about. That pork belly super crunchy
Oh yeah.
skin on the side, but it's really juicy in the middle. Yeah.
Ooh.
But stuffed chicken wings, man, like I that's one of the places I'll swing by, even with a giant boat in that tiny parking lot, just to get me a few boxes of food to go.
Hell yeah. Crazy, crazy,
Hmm.
crazy. Monk it
Hmm.
is so I'm gonna show a picture so that these guys can see it. Check it out. I got pictures for them. I just looked it up. Let's see your
Yeah.
screen capture. Look at this. I've got a picture of a big old. Let me slide this over for you guys. This is just a picture of like a big old a pho
Yep.
bowl of pho, dude,
Yep. They got pho there
with a
too. They
big old
got
giant dinosaur beef rib inside of it. Oh man, that looks
heck
awesome.
yeah.
Holy, now I get it. That's why you love this place. Holy moly, dude,
Yeah.
that looks good with
Yep.
the side of that. What is that? Mint leaf or and jalapenos and some of
Basil.
that. Maple, is that what they
Right.
put in there?
Yeah. Basil,
Basil.
jalapenos, bean sprouts. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, the bean sprouts. There you go. That's it. It's a side of that. Holy
Hmm.
moly, that looks good. Crazy, dude. So that's your spot on the way out and probably on the way back in.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah.
Um, go ahead.
No, yeah, I love stopping there. And but yeah, I'm always about the small little hole in the wall nooks and crannies, trying those places versus, going to spend 40 bucks, 50 bucks on a steak or something.
Oh yeah, dude, you'll go broke on the road. Of all the places of traveling and traveling, is that your favorite? Is that your favorite, or which one sticks out of your mind?
Well, I mean, for food, probably that it has a
That
good
place?
combination of everything. All
Yeah,
the different meats, all the different vegetables have soups there. But um that one place there in particular, I guess, has to be as of right now my favorite place to stop.
that you go to.
Hmm. I'd say
Awesome.
so.
What's the worst place you've ever ate on the road?
Uh, I would have to say there's been a couple of little bar places, restaurants and I wouldn't even say the food was terrible, but like maybe service sometimes.
Oh, so sometimes they're
And-
just
but
bad service.
just just don't pay attention. You know what I mean? Which it is what it is. I as we all know, I'm been 20 some years in the service industry, so I just I deal with it and just leave. I don't ever complain. I'm just one of those people. I won't complain, and it is what it is. I just won't go back. First impression type deals. But um, as far as food goes, I I don't think I have a real worst experience or really terrible experience with actual food.
So you got lucky. You never got sick or anything like that on the road.
No,
Wow.
no.
You got lucky.
Mm-mm.
Holy moly, that's
Yep.
awesome. Um,
Yeah.
what about like the scariest place? Like you're going down south, you're going up north, you're traveling all over. You ever run into like a motorcycle bar where everybody wanted to kill you or something like that, or any scary places like that?
Not yet. Not yet. So I haven't been to any like eating establishments or bars where actually I've been afraid to go into. Now, I guess there's one that was
Here it
real
comes.
rundown. It was near a police station,
Oh,
actually in Florida,
so you
and I
felt
took my
safer?
buddies there.
Did you feel a little safer because the police station's
Well,
next door? Like if anything goes
yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
run that way.
yeah, yeah. But it was like a hole in the wall place in Florida. We were down there for a bass tournament, and I took my buddies there. One from Ohio, one from New York, from Brooklyn, and we go in there as we're walking in there. They're like, "You sure about this?" I'm like, "You guys are way bigger and stronger and more muscular than I am. Yeah, and we'll be fine." But no, and that place was really good. They had no, of course, down in Florida, it's like fresh boiled shrimp.
Ooh,
We
damn.
one of us had the frog legs, which was absolutely amazing.
Ooh, frog
um,
legs.
and but yeah, no, the oysters, fried oysters,
You ate
raw
oysters at
oysters
that
there
dive
were
place?
good. Yeah,
Holy moly, that
yep.
makes me scary. My
That
wife
so
eats oysters everywhere. I'm like,
no,
hell no. What if I get hepatitis from that?
no,
Or flesh eating disease? I heard you can get flesh eating disease from this.
yeah,
That's a
but
rumor.
in Florida is probably the best place where you can go get fresh oysters all the time,
Oh,
and
crazy.
um, it's just they're yeah, is one of that oyster is one of my favorite things, but only well, mostly in Florida. I don't do that up here. Number one, they're freaking expensive up here, but
Yeah, you got to wonder, like, how did it get all the way up there? Like,
yeah,
it's been a couple
true.
weeks and it's finally here. Those
Don't
things
think
have
it takes that long, but
those things have a travel time. Like
yeah.
one time I was in I was in a I'm not, it was I was somewhere, was it like New Mexico or something like that? And there's not like there's not like an ocean very close by. Like so, and there's a sushi place. I'm like, well, I don't know about eating sushi in New Mexico. I don't know how I feel about that. I was
Uh-huh.
a little nervous. So I was like, because that truck, it probably took him about a month to get here with that tuna, with that bluefin tuna. It's no longer bluefin anymore. It's yellowfin. What's going on? I was like, I couldn't try. I was
Yeah,
like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Oh man, crazy man,
that's funny.
out of
Yep.
control. So when's the next tournament?
In 2 weeks, South Dakota on Lake Sharp.
2 weeks on Lake Sharp, the Walleye Championship.
No, it's not the championship. It's just the championship is in September. This is the first qualifying tournament of the season.
Qualifier.
Hmm.
The qualifier. 2 weeks on Lake Sharp. You can don't you watch some of these on you could, it's on TV, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go and search National Walleye Tour, and you can see different events that they've televised. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. Any other crazy
Hmm.
stories you got from the road?
From the road, one from back again whenever I was bass fishing. Went down to Mississippi to a tournament, and I rented an Airbnb, and nice neighborhood too. It wasn't like upscale type neighborhood, but seemed like your normal mom and pop family type neighborhood. Houses built in the 80s, 90s probably,
Yeah.
and nice clean house, nice yard and everything, and parked my boat and truck, right there on the street,
Ooh.
and went to bed that night after I was done pre-fishing for the tournament, trying to learn the lake, and came out the next morning. Had my cover on my boat cover was on there. I was taking it off, and then I look while I was taking the cover off my boat. I look ahead up up to my truck, and there's something laying on the pavement. It looked like a plastic bag or something right by my driver's side door. And like, huh, what is that? So I go up there and look, and it's actually my passenger side glass that was laying, and the tent was holding it together, but
All the
it was
glass
all
was on
like
the
laying.
floor?
on the ground on the pavement.
So they
Yeah,
broke in your truck.
and yeah, somebody broke in my truck, and but they didn't take a thing. They didn't take anything. I had a couple pair of sunglasses laying there. I had some like loose, like not loose bills laying out, but in my console, I had like maybe $10 of loose
They didn't take none of
bills
that.
and change. They didn't take anything.
What the?
And so I called the police, and they came over, and they're like, they explained to me like, yep, this is if somebody sees a truck or a nice truck with a nice boat behind it, they're under the assumption that that person that owns that truck and boat has a firearm. So so people are were
Oh,
specifically,
look for weapons.
looking for a handgun or something like that in my truck, which I didn't have, but
Holy moly, dude! So they're
yeah,
looking for that's a
you
hot
know.
item out there. So they're looking to get the handguns and then sell them to the cartels or something like that. Crazy. That's my story, and I'm
Yeah.
sticking with it.
Yeah.
So that's how
Yeah.
the cartel.
The car
Okay, I'm starting to
the
understand now.
cartels or the mafia,
Or the
you know.
the other
Yeah.
organizations that are out there,
Yeah, yeah,
the other companies that run their businesses throughout
yeah,
the national America, throughout
yeah,
America.
yeah,
Fantastic,
yeah.
crazy man.
But yeah,
Well,
it's just a crazy story there. But other than that, everything goes pretty good.
crazy, and you've got the school going. Make sure you send me that link so
Hmm.
we can get the link on the YouTube description as well.
That's awesome.
And then the link to the Walleye Championship in 2 weeks. Make sure you catch Tom Hune, the National Walleye Tour. That's right. It's starting up again. It's a qualifier in 2 weeks on Lake Sharp. You can see it on TV. He's going to send me the link. We'll put it in the description for you. Make sure you follow Tom Hune Fishing on Instagram. And my friends, stay thirsty and not dangerous. Have a great one. Take care.